Well, Tony Costa here from Toronto Apologetics. So glad that you can join us for this video. I'd like to remind you, as always, to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it. The subscription link is just below the video. Just click subscribe, or if you have a bell icon there, just click on that. So we are continuing in our series on refuting Sheikh Uthman. And we are looking today at video number, this is going to be video number 4. And answering one of Sheikh Uthman's repetitive, inconsistent attacks on Mark 13, verse 32 about did Christ know the hour of his return? Let's listen in, and I will be stopping the video and making any necessary comments that has to be made. So let's begin.
To believe Jesus is God. We say the Bible teaches that Jesus is God.
Okay, so the first thing we want to bear in mind, folks, is notice how Sheikh Uthman is setting the trap. This is how Muslim apologists set the trap. You believe Jesus is God. And the problem with that question is that Christians keep falling for it. The problem is the way that question is being asked. Do you believe Jesus is God? And the answer is, I believe that Jesus Christ is the God-man. You cannot speak of Jesus Christ without mentioning that you have one person with two natures, divine and human. He is truly God and he's truly man. So when Muslims like Sheikh Uthman throw this question out there and say, is Jesus God? What they're assuming is that Jesus is only God, that as God, he should be omniscient, omnipresent. But notice what's lacking there is there's no mention of his humanity. And so the question is phrased the wrong way, and it's a setup. It's basically a setup to trap you. Because the moment you say, yeah, I believe he's God, then they'll say, well, then when did God get hungry? Does God get hungry? Does God sleep? Does God get tired? Does God die? And so forth and so on. So please make this a practice that when Muslims ask you, do you believe Jesus is God? Respond by saying, we believe Jesus is the God-man. He is both God and man. Because the moment they try to say, well, why did he get hungry? Because he is a man. Why did he get tired? Because he was truly man. Why did he sleep? Because he was also truly a man. So always remember that Jesus Christ is the Theanthropos. He is the God-man. He is Deus homo, as we say in Latin, the God-man. And so what I would recommend that you do, I'm going to put this in the description box, see my lecture on the hypostatic union that deals with the two natures in Christ. So remember, that's how Uthman is trapping this older gentleman, who I presume is a Christian. Now notice he's got on this video, this TikTok video, no Christian can answer this. No, we have answered it, Sheikh Uthman. You just don't like the answer. And so you want to keep pressing. But I want you to notice in this video the inconsistencies that we are going to come across with Sheikh Uthman. He is not only going to be building straw man arguments, but you'll see how inconsistent he is.
Yes. Yeah. So does God know everything?
Did you catch that? So you said Jesus is God, so God knows everything. And then he's going to bring up a passage where Jesus says, of that day and hour, no one knows except the Father. So again, when Muslims ask you, do you believe Jesus is God? That is a trap. So it's just as heretical to say Jesus is God and stop there as it is to say Jesus is man and stop there. So there was an early heresy in the church called monophysitism that taught that Jesus only had one nature. So we got to beware. Jesus does not just have one nature. Jesus Christ is the God-man. He's the incarnate word. And so he's one person with two natures.
God has full knowledge of everything. Yes, he is. Okay. Did Jesus know the hour?
Here's the question. Did Jesus know the hour? And he's referring here to the hour of his second coming.
Okay. When the Bible says, of that day and the hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father.
So let's stop here. Let's see the inconsistency here with Sheikh Uthman. So when Muslims generally bring up this passage in Mark 13, verse 32, notice Jesus goes in an ascending order. Of that day and hour, no one knows, not even the angels, not the Son, only the Father. Okay, so let's stop here for a moment and ask the question. Did Jesus actually say those words? Did Jesus actually say, nor the Son? Did he refer to himself as the Son? And did he refer to God as the Father? Because the moment the Muslim admits that, then the next question should be, why don't you become a Christian? And they'll say, well, why? Well, because now you believe that God is Father, which the Quran denies he is. The Quran says Allah is not the father of any of you, and he's definitely not the father of Jesus Christ. And you've only admitted that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Well, if you believe those words, if you believe Jesus actually said, nor the Son, but only the Father, well, then you are admitting that you have the Father and you have the Son, and that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and that God is Father to Jesus Christ as his Son. If that's the case, then abandon Islam, because Islam denies both those things, that Jesus is the Son of God and that God is Father. Now, will he do that? No, he won't. He'll just say, oh, but I'm just showing you from your own Bible. But if that passage isn't true, is it corrupted, Sheikh Uthman? Do you believe Mark 13:32 is corrupted? You claim the Bible's is corrupted. You claim the Bible's been changed. Why hasn't it been changed there? Well, he doesn't want that because he wants to use it as a stepping stone for Islam, to try to prove Islam. But in so doing, it backfires on him because Jesus refers to himself as the Son and refers to God as the Father. So did Jesus actually say those words? Because if he said those words, you can't just say, he only said, no one knows the hour, without saying, no man, nor the angels, nor the Son, only the Father. The moment you confess that Jesus actually said those words, then it's game over in terms of Islam. If you believe God is Father, you've just contradicted the Quran. If you believe Jesus is the Son, you've just contradicted the Quran. So notice that, unfortunately, our unsuspecting Christian friend here doesn't catch that. He simply goes along with what Sheikh Uthman is saying. But Sheikh Uthman, of course, is doing double talk here. He's using these words that he knows will contradict Islam, but he'll still use it to advance the cause of Islam. That's inconsistency, and that is, again, it is devious of him to do that.
That's a different Bible verses. It differs in
What?
It says God alone knows it.
So I'm gonna read.
So the poor guy, the Christian guy, seems totally confused. I mean, I don't even know what he's trying to say there, but he just seems very, very confused here.
It to you, okay?
Yeah, okay. I know Mark says that, but I think Matthew.
So which one is correct?
So which one is correct? So which one is correct? That's a good question, Sheikh Uthman. Which one do you think is correct? The one that advances Islam, the one that he thinks advances Islam, but actually backfires.
It's people that heard Jesus say that. The important thing to understand is what they
Call it.
what
Did
they
Jesus know?
So notice, instead of letting the man explain himself, and I could see the man is much older than he is. Remember, this is all for shock and awe. He puts out these videos and he targets these unsuspecting Christians. There's a reason why he does that. He's not debating in a formal debate, an academic debate with Christian apologists who know this stuff. He wants to target these unsuspecting folks and then put it on TikTok and show how powerful Islam is.
Know the hour or no?
He's saying that it comes on a different time, and
Okay, I get that it comes from a different time, but did Jesus know when it will be?
did he know when it will be?
Yes.
I've had this discussion before.
But you're not giving me an answer. Just saying that you've had the discussion, not an answer, right?
He was saying it comes.
But that's not.
Obviously, the guy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the man's. I don't know if, being an elderly man, I don't know of his mental state, whether he's forgetful. But again, Uthman doesn't care about that. He just wants to prove his point and just wants to shove his interpretation down this guy's throat. So let's continue.
What it says.
Different time. Look, it comes on.
Can you read the verse for me, please?
I've read it before.
But can you read it for me?
That day in the hour, no man,
No?
no one knows. Not even the angels in the Father, not only the Son, not only the Father.
You want me to read it? Because that's not what the verse says.
I think that actually the wording of that can be because it's in the Greek and it can be read
Colin.
Wait,
Colin.
so
Colin,
Okay, would you talk to your father that way? I mean, this man is clearly much older than he is, and he's talking down to him. It's being very condescending toward this. Remember, folks, it's the end will justify the means. It's all about trying to showcase yourself and putting down these other folks. It's obvious this man is struggling to remember certain things.
yeah, okay.
you know you don't make sense here. Let's just be honest.
We need to look up actually what the Greek said.
Colin, look up the Greek right now.
Yeah.
You have the Greek Bible in front of you. Look it up.
The
Look at.
different versions of the New Testament, okay?
So which version is correct?
Yeah, which version is correct? As if to say, well, they're all wrong. You know, there's contradictions in the Quran. Well, we can talk about versions of the versions of the Bible. Well, we can talk about different versions of the Quran. We can talk about the Warsh, the Hafs. We can go on and talk about the different versions of the Quran. And that's been done in other videos. Other Christian apologists have targeted Sheikh Uthman on this. And you could see that on YouTube. So to pretend that, oh, the Bible has different versions, but not the Quran, that is just absolutely absurd and false.
Are you running?
Are you running? So you're talking to an old man, old enough to be your father. Are you running? Again, where is the respect here for an elderly gentleman? Don't see it, folks.
You're running.
Offer. I'm giving you.
There you go.
Jesus.
There you go. So he got his Uthman got his 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 30 seconds of fame there, taking on an old gentleman who probably can't remember most of what he's saying. So when it comes to Mark 13:32, folks, the first thing you need to realize is Jesus calls himself the Son, and he calls God Father. Two things that Islam will not allow. Two things that Muslims will not. Two things that Sheikh Uthman doesn't believe. He doesn't even believe that. So if that's not a true saying of Jesus, then why even quote it? Why even quote it? And if you tell the Christian, well, you guys believe it's a true saying of Jesus, I don't. Well, then if Jesus didn't really say that, shouldn't you be telling your Christian friends, your Christian brothers and sisters, shouldn't you be telling them these are not the words of Jesus? We want to get you to read the real words of Jesus. Why don't you come to the Quran? No, you see, he's playing two sides of the field here. On the one hand, he's trying to say, yes, Jesus said that. But then on the other hand, but I don't have to believe Jesus said that. Well, if you don't have to believe Jesus said that, the real question is, did he say those words? And if he didn't say those words, then why should we believe them? Why should you correct your Christian brothers and sisters not to believe it? But no, you see, he hijacks the New Testament and he uses that against them. Now, not to belabor the point here, I've done a video on this on Mark 13:32. I'm going to put the link in the description box there for you guys to take a look at. And just for the sake of brevity, when Jesus says, of that day and hour, no one knows, nor the angels, nor the Son, only the Father, the language of not knowing is the same type of wording used in the Greek New Testament. That's probably where that older gentleman was trying to get to, which basically means it's not the authority of men or angels to declare that day. It's not the role of the Son to declare that day. It could also mean that. So, for example, in Acts 1:6, where the disciples asked Jesus, "Is it now that you will restore the kingdom to Israel?" And he says in Acts 1:7, "It's not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father has placed under his own jurisdiction." In other words, this is the Father's jurisdiction. This is his role. It doesn't mean Jesus doesn't know. It means it's not his to declare. That is not his prerogative to declare that. That is the prerogative of the Father. The Father is the one who declares that last day. He's the one who declares the times and the seasons and so forth. It doesn't follow from that the Son doesn't know. It's the same when Paul says, for example, in 1 Corinthians 2, he says, I don't want to know anything among you but Christ and him crucified. It doesn't mean that Paul didn't know anything. It means I did not declare anything to you but Jesus Christ. That was his focal point. The message of the cross was Paul's focal point. That was his main focus. So for him to say, I did not know anything, but I did not care to know anything but to declare but the cross of Christ, he's not saying he's ignorant of everything else. He is saying that he did not care to declare anything but Christ and his gospel. And so there have been answers given. Some would say, well, Jesus was speaking in the capacity of his humanity as a man, and that's possible, because as a man, he was finite. As a man, not as God, but as man, he was finite. But I think there's a lot of information in the Bible that shows us that the word know is something that is connected to declaring. And so if you look at my video on Mark 13:32, I also describe in Genesis 18 where God appears in human flesh to Abraham in Genesis 18. And then he says, he feigns ignorance in front of Abraham and says, I've heard that the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah has been great. It's reached up to the heavens. And I've come to know whether this is so. It doesn't mean God didn't know, but he has come to declare its destruction and so forth. So I'll let you check that out in the description box on Mark 13:32. But once again, this is one of the many ways that Sheikh Uthman plays the game of strawman argumentation, misinterpretation, misapplication, and of course, exegesis, reading into the text what is not there. And of course, the major part is the inconsistency. So folks, thanks for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in a follow-up video. Again, don't forget to subscribe to Apologetics, to like and share the video. Take care. God bless.